Welcome back to Defense News Weekly. I'm Andrea Scott. We start this week with a look inside a defense industry initiative to use commercial jets for military missions. Smaller planes are packing a bigger punch, and the Pentagon has tapped Bombardier Defense to make it happen. The company's vice president visited our studio to talk to C4ISRNet's Colin Demarest to learn how they do it and how the intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance landscape is evolving as conflicts around the world arise.
Steve, thanks for joining us today. The Army has made it clear it needs to see farther into enemy territory, strike harder from that greater distance, and be more precise, all at the same time. They've dubbed part of the equation deep sensing. Where do you see that concept now and in the future, and how or why is your company contributing?
Hi Colin, pleasure to be here today. I think deep sensing is part of the Army's vision for the multi-domain sensing system, the MDSS as they call it. And really it's all about being able to see, as you say, farther into enemy territory. And the territory itself is farther away from the homeland. So there's a real need for a capability that allows you to not only see farther, but see farther from farther. So where Bombardier Defense can help in that equation is to bring our platforms to bear. Those platforms are designed to be high altitude, long endurance assets that can persist in and around the battle space and give that ability to look further into enemy territory.
And so how does this play into this top priority of long-range fires that the Army has?
So when you think of long-range fires, the additional word is precision long-range fires. And precision implies that you need a target. And so if you're going to have a target, you need to be able to surveil the area and to identify a target of interest. So where the Bombardier platform plays is that we provide that asset that hosts a radar or some other sensor that can identify the target and then pass it back to the command and control functions.
And so what makes this converted business jet a good candidate for serious military operations? What would you say to skeptics that, maybe another option or something more military hardened is the better approach?
So I think what we would say is that the attributes that the military need from a platform are actually quite consistent with the attributes that some of our business jet customers look for. First of all, it's reliability. The business customer expects the aircraft to perform when they need it, as does the military customer. The mission is critical. So reliability is important, as is performance. A lot of our aircraft have exceptional endurance, high altitude, high speed. They can operate from short runways. So that performance gives flexibility to the military customers. There's also the fact that they are modern in-production assets. Our aircraft are in production today. They are going to be in production for many years. So we deal with things like obsolescence and latest technology in our course of business. And then perhaps the biggest thing that brings the business jet into the equation is the advancement of technology. 20 years ago, sensor payloads, radars, electronic equipment would fill a room the size of this. Now that's shrunk down to the size of maybe an iPhone. So a much smaller footprint to accommodate the same sensors. That makes a business jet very appealing in that market.
So let's take a pivot here for a second and ask about Bombardier Defense internally. Where are you guys investing, and what is the company really interested in achieving in the near term or medium term?
So Bombardier Defense has been a part of Bombardier Aerospace for many, many years. What we're now seeing, though, is an increased demand for our products and services. So we're starting to build up our capability predominantly in Wichita, in Kansas, as the center of activity for engineering and modification. And what we're bringing forward and what we're investing in is reusable solutions. We find that many customers want additional electrical power, they want cooling capabilities, they want payload volumes. So we're creating and investing in those kinds of capabilities, as well as our power plants, to make the aircraft almost a Swiss Army knife, ready to be used for multiple missions at very short notice, highly reusable, low cost, rapid to deploy.
And so Bombardier recently delivered the 7th global aircraft to Saab to be made into the early warning GlobalEye. How would you describe that international relationship, like you have those relationships around in the US? And how would you also describe that ultimate end product? What are you hoping to achieve with that program?
So one of the things that Bombardier Defense prides itself on is our collaboration with prime integrators. So whether it's L3Harris, Sierra Nevada, Raytheon in the States, or Saab overseas, we have a very strong collaborative relationship. The GlobalEye is a great example of how we work well with another prime mission system integrator our platform, their system coming together to bring a great capability to the market. The GlobalEye is an airborne early warning aircraft fundamentally, but also with additional surveillance capabilities. In fact, Saab call it the swing roll surveillance system. The aircraft has been very successful with its launch customer in the UAE. We also have an additional customer in Sweden. And together with Saab, we see lots of opportunities around the world for this product in markets in Asia, in Europe, and in the Far East.
And do you foresee growth or additional opportunities for this contractor-owned, contractor-operated arrangement in the defense world, as you are doing here on stateside?
I think the one thing we all see is there a growing demand for intelligence, and how you satisfy that demand can be either through service-owned and operated assets or contractor-owned, contractor-operated assets in the COCO model. We're here to support both models, whether it be a direct sale to the government or to one of these third-party companies. Our aircraft to their payload gives the capability very quickly.
And we can hit on this intelligence bit, this desire for more intelligence here in a second. How do you see aerial surveillance or electronic warfare needs changing depending on the theater? The Pentagon is currently trying to balance Russia and China, the greater Middle East and Africa, etc.
I think the Pentagon have been quite clear with the idea of great power competition and the need to engage with China at distance. And so that requires a certain type of asset to be able to perform the mission at a long range. The recent activity with Russia in the Ukraine has sort of pivoted back towards Europe, and so it's a different theater compared to the Far East. Perhaps what that underscores most of all is we don't know exactly what the future theater will be, so you need to be flexible. So the way that we view the problem set is not to have a single solution for a single problem, but have a solution that can satisfy multiple problems, that's redeployable across the globe very quickly, that can be pivoted to where the current crisis is. So the Bombardier solutions, we think, fit that niche very well.